Today's video brings us to St. Petersburg, Florida, here on Beach Drive, where people are out and about, having a good time, dining al fresco. But little do they know that hobby history is just a few steps away, right back there at the St. Petersburg Museum of History. Although it's a cloudy, overcast day with chances of rain, it's still a great day because we're talking baseball. Today we're actually talking autographed baseballs. The largest collection in the world of autographed baseballs, and it's right here at the St. Petersburg Museum of History. So it works out well that looks like it's about to rain, but it's all right. We're gonna be indoors checking out this cool collection right here in St. Petersburg. And here's a section of the museum where the baseballs are stored. It's called Schroeder's Little Cooperstown. And look at this room. Amazing. All these autographed baseballs. Just unbelievable. That 5,036 autographs are stored here. All collected by Dennis Schroeder, who began as a 9-year-old boy. He was here in St. Pete at AllAmerican Stadium, helping out a ball boy at a game. And of all people, Mickey Mantle comes up, grabs the ball out of his hand, signs it, and that's how his collection began. So just amazing. A way to start a collection. If you have Mickey Mantle as your first autograph, you're off to a great start. This right here just tells you a little history of the Grapefruit League, spring training here in Florida. And there's also this timeline about the history of baseball, which displays different baseballs through the ages and players like Jim Thorpe, his Rogers Hornsby, just incredible autograph. Harry Howman was a great hitter. Here's a ball that's signed by a bunch of Hall of Famers, but you can see Jimmy Fox and Mel Allen there on the side. Stan Musial, another historic player. Here's the M&M boys, Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris, who we'll see again later on. Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. Just dynamic duos throughout the history. Reggie Jackson, Pete Rose, and Bo Jackson. Of course, who can forget Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa with Barry Bonds. Some people may not appreciate that history, but nevertheless, it is part of baseball history, and they're displayed here. And there's Lefty Grove. And Dennis also has some very interesting autographs just from people in general, like this lady here who's the last survivor of the Titanic. Of course, look at this. Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart on a baseball. What a dual signing there. A couple of soldiers from World War II. His Walt Disney autographed baseball. That's pretty cool. And Neil Armstrong, another one. Pretty cool autograph to get on the baseball. And this section is what most people want to see. The Hall of Famers, which we start with none other than Babe Ruth. I'm going to play this video in the background, and I'm just going to stay quiet for a few minutes and let you all just enjoy the show.
I'm just amazed at the span of your collection. From the early days of baseball right up to the present days of baseball. If you had to pick one, is there a most valuable baseball in the collection?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 that are very valuable. My prize is, I guess, what I call the Hall of Fame ball. In 1939, they opened the Hall of Fame, but they had been inducted men since 1936. 26 men were inducted in 39. Only 11 were alive. Only 11 went to the induction ceremony June 12, 1939 in Cooperstown, and all 11 have signed one ball. And I have that one ball.
Dennis, a guy that had some roots right here in St. Petersburg was Babe Ruth.
Oh, Babe Ruth, the salt and the swat. You know, not only did he hit home runs, he averaged 342 his whole career, batting average. But he said, I like to hit home runs because I'm not built like an athlete. I'm a little chubby, and I can't run fast. So if I hit these swats, the salt and the swats, I can take my time going around the bases. Of course, he hit 60 home runs in 27, which was beat by Maris in 61, 34 years later. Ruth did in 154 games, Maris did in 162 games, but it was before the performance-enhancing drug period. Two great feats. But people don't realize that Babe Ruth was a pitcher for Boston before he was traded to the Yankees. He went 67 and 34. He won 2/3 of his game. He had a record that stood for 50 years. He had 26 scoreless innings in World Series play, consecutive innings. Oral Hershiser finally broke them. But he was Mr. Baseball of his era. He visited hospitals. He did movies. He did personal appearances. But Bruce was the man of the world. He ate everything. He drank everything. He tried everything. He did everything. George Herman Rose, I mean, the man just had a lust for life in baseball.
And by the way, one of the ties in St. Petersburg, one of his longest home runs was right here in St. Petersburg. How about that? Never writing a book about that. Let's talk about Joe DiMaggio. He, and matter of fact, you can't talk about Joe without talking about Marilyn, too.
Well, I have a ball signed by Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe. They only signed two, legend has it, in the 9 months they were married. And it's in the same color ink. And that's worth quite a bit of money. But, you know, a 56-game winning hitting streak in 1941, and which will never be beat, I don't think. But people don't realize that after the 56-game hitting streak, he had a 17-game. So he went 73 out of 74 games with a hit. That'll never be topped. But what's phenomenal about the year 1941, 154 games, he only struck out 13 times. Now, Joe was so popular, Les Brown and his band of renown made a song about Joe. Paul Simon did Mrs. Mrs. Robinson. In the thing, he talks about where'd you go, Joe DiMaggio. He was Mr. Baseball his era, but then if you watch the commercials, he was Mr. Coffee later on. But he did what everybody wanted to do. He married Marilyn Monroe. What a guy. Joyce was gone.
We talked about Babe Ruth, a guy that was here with Babe Ruth and actually roomed with him locally in St. Petersburg was Ty Cobb.
Oh, Ty Cobb, small name, 6 letters, Ty Cobb, big player. Probably the greatest all-around player that ever played the game. And myth has it, and I've read his life story, they talk about him spitting on other players and cursing at other players. And actually, when they wore the steel spikes back then, sharpening his spikes with a file. So when he slid into second, that second baseman was afraid of getting cut up to make that throw to first for the double play. But ironically, Cobb had 4,100 hits in 23 years, topped by Pete Rose. 4,200 in 23 years. Of course, we're talking 154 games to 162 again. Rose more at bats, whatever. Both great accomplishments. But Ty Cobb won 9 batting titles in a row. 9 in a row. And in 23 years, he never batted less than 3 points. 3 times he batted over 4 times. But the ironic record will never ever be broken. Ty Cobb stole home 54 times. Tyrus Raymond Cobb.
Unbelievable. A guy that's also been made somewhat immortal in movies and books and what have you is a guy named Shoeless Joe.
Oh, Shoeless Joe Jackson. You know, I've got a 1919 ball signed by Shoeless Joe, and they say he was his wife taught him how to sign his paycheck. A good wife. And he wasn't that illiterate because Joe lived till 1951 and he owned a pretty profitable liquor store. But I have a ball, and you can see where he labored to sign his name. And he was kicked out in 1920, the Black Sox scandal. And he was deemed innocent by the court. But our first commissioner of baseball, King Shaw Mountain Landis, said, "No, this came to the game, you're guilty, you're out." I have a ball signed by Landis, too, when I had to go. And so Joe Barnstorm for 2 or 3 years against the Negro Leagues with his buddies he just finally gave up. I want nothing to do with baseball. It's even said that Ty Cobb was the vision of his language. But Shoeless Joe Jackson, he got his name Shoeless because she was a poor kid. He didn't have a diet. His parents were poor sharecroppers. And he finally made it to baseball, and they gave him a pair of spikes. He did hard leather shoes, and he wore them and got pushed. He couldn't take it. So he took them off. Shoeless Joe Jackson. Right?
All right. A name that has been talked about a lot recently, 42. That's Jackie Robinson.
Oh,
That's actually not Rod Carew. That is Dave Winfield. But as we finish up here on some of these Hall of Famers, just an amazing collection. Some of these I've never seen before, and some I have. Some are faded, like this Tony Perez, which can be easily replaced, but others not so easy. Look at these. So long ago. Incredible Hall of Famers. And we go from one Babe Ruth autographed baseball to another. What's cool about this one is Babe responded to a fan's autograph request, and instead of sending a picture, he sent them this baseball. But it didn't have only his autograph. It had Eddie Collins, George Sisler, Frank Baker, Tris Speaker, Lefty Grove, Lou Costello, Walter Johnson, and Bud Abbott. And the Babe gives them the tip on how to store the baseball so the autographs won't fade with white shellac, which is pretty cool letter to receive from Babe Ruth. Then we go over to these huge displays of these legends. We start with Teddy Ballgame, and look at that autograph by the Splendid Splinter. There's a full name autograph, Theodore Samuel Williams, and a more modern one. And we go over to Ty Cobb. Not on the sweet spot, but still a sweet autograph to have. And we go over to Jackie Robinson. No matter where you get his autograph, it's just awesome to own one, to have that. Look at that. Baseball history right there. Jackie Robinson. We go over to Joe DiMaggio. It tells you what kind of autographs are there. Of course, full name autographs, a more modern one. You see one of his brother, Little Professor, Dom. Just a ton of Joe DiMaggio autographs. Now, this is the one he was talking about in the video earlier with Marilyn Monroe. Look at that. To a great baseball player, Marilyn Monroe. Heart, heart, heart. Unbelievable. This one's really cool. Shoeless Joe Jackson. It's been said that he was illiterate, couldn't read or write, but it took him a while to sign his autograph. But there it is. Shoeless Joe Jackson. I've never seen one in person. This was really cool. Right next to Kennesaw Mount Landis, who banned him for life through the Black Sox scandal. And of course, can never get sick of Babe Ruth autographs. We've already seen a few, but it shows him through the years where he had quotation marks on the name Babe. Then he started taking them out years later. You see some of his family members, his daughter and granddaughter. Pretty cool display of the great Bambino. Now this display was awesome. Here's an advertisement for the Negro Leagues, and you see some of the greats here. I'm just going to go over a few. There's Satchel Paige's awesome windup. Tells you a little history about the Negro Leagues. And go over some of the autographs. Happy Chandler, Ray Dandridge, which I have in my collection, which is great. Buck O'Neil, another one. Just awesome players. Judy Johnson, the great Buck Leonard, and this was pretty cool. Country music star and farmer ball player Charlie Pride. And there was this great display for the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, which was brought back into prominence through the movie A League of Their Own, which is a great movie. It's not historically accurate, but it's just to put it out there of what it was like. Of course, the characters in the movie were fictional. They were, however, inspired by these ladies who played the game and played it so well. And this ball here is signed by a few of the more popular players in the league who played for years and had great stats. From the movie A League of Their Own, Dottie Hinson, the main character, was said to be inspired by this lady here, Dottie Kamenchek, who's thought to be the best player in the league. His Penny Marshall, who directed the film, so it's pretty cool. They have an autographed ball of her. And Gene Fott, who was one of the best pitchers in the league. at the time. Sophie Cures was kind of like the Ricky Henderson of the league. She had over 1,000 stolen bases. Pretty cool. And one of the greatest athletes in American history, whether male or female, that's Babe Didrikson Zacharias. Now this next section with the team baseballs, I want to highlight one team in particular and give a special shout out to someone who's given me a shout out recently, and I really appreciate him. It's Scott with Reindeer Studios. Scott is a Cleveland fan, so here are some autographed baseballs by those great Cleveland Indians teams in the mid-90s. And Scott is an artist himself, so his work belongs here at this museum. Would love to see it someday. And he is pretty fond of autographed baseballs. So thank you, Scott. Now we go over to this Yankees display. The New York Yankees have the richest history in baseball history. And that's thanks in large part to great teams like this, like the 1927 Murderers Row with guys like Gehrig and Ruth. There's another Babe Ruth autograph. Can never see too many of those. But look at this ball. It's in great shape, just a beautiful display. And this was pretty awesome right here. The Pride of the Yankees movie, released in 1942, where Babe Ruth played himself and Bill Dickey. Gary Cooper played Lou Gehrig, and this Lou Gehrig's signature. Look at that. Just a bright, beautiful display. Amazing how great that condition that ball is in. And here's Roger Maris and Hank Aaron, and the faded Babe Ruth autograph right in the sweet spot. That's a pretty cool baseball. And we also have the 61 Yankees, who won the World Series. See Bobby Richardson's autograph there. 61 is 61, of course, known for the Eminem Boys. Mickey Mantle, who had 54 and 61, right in the sweet spot. And Roger Maris, 61 and 61. And here's a Mickey Mantle autograph with his full name. Captain Derek Jeter. Another Captain Thurman Munson. This was great to see. Love seeing the Thurman Munson autograph right on the sweet spot. Amazing. Don Larson, of course, for that perfect game in the World Series. There's that 61 ball again. And Yogi Berra, one of the greatest characters in baseball history and one of the greatest managers, Casey Stengel. Hello, folks. This is Mel Allen. Pretty cool that they had a section for sportscasters. That section was closed. I'll get it next time. But they also had a section for boxers. And there's the Muhammad Ali autograph there. You must include in any boxing display. And these were just random balls. It shows you here Yankee stars with Mickey Mantle, Maris, Munson, and Ruth again. Dennis has a lot of Babe Ruth autographs, which is pretty cool. Can never have too many, right? Here's another one with the 400 hitters who hit 400 in a season. Nap Lajoie, Ty Cobb on that ball. His Hank Aaron and Willie Mays on the baseball. Pretty awesome autograph here. This one's a Hall of Fame ball. You can see Bob Feller and Johnny Bench right there. Great pictures with Roger Clemens right on the sweet spot. Randy Johnson on the bottom. And you see Dennis Eckersley right there on the side. Barry and Bobby Bonds. Now that's a great one right there. Stolen Base Kings. You see Ricky Henderson's right there. Davey Lopes. Louis Aparicio. Maury Wills. Here's another ball with multiple Hall of Famers again. Ernie Banks on the sweet spot. Billy Williams right on top. And here's another 61 Yankees. These are some pitchers who gave up some big-time home runs, like Randy Gumpert gave up Mickey Mantle's first home run back in 51. Ball from the 1929 World Series. Look at that. Wow. Frank Home Run Baker's first home run ball. Here's one signed by Ronald Reagan and Doris Day. Where's Doris? She is right there on the sweet spot. Pretty awesome. From the movie The Winning Team. And here's another movie, The Rookie, Jim Morris. Dennis has a ton of celebrity autographs. We're just going to go over a few of them here. He has a lot of other sports athletes, football players, basketball players like Dr. J and Evel Knievel. Did you see there? Jerry Lewis, Gallagher, who has a pretty cool autograph. Thomas Kincaid, Drew Carey, Bob Barker. The price was right on this one for Dennis. Richard Dawson from The Family Feud. Here's John Travolta and Martin Sheen. Can I get your autograph? Yeah. Meet me in the back of the chopper. Yeah, I'll be back. Okay, that was corny. Vanna White and Pat Sajak. Baseball signed by presidents are always fun. Here's Richard Nixon. Gerald Ford's a little faded. Jimmy Carter. Barack Obama. And other political figures like Hillary Clinton. We have a Bobby Kennedy autograph. Jesse Jackson. Let's go back to sports. Phil Mickelson. John Wayne. Look at all these. Just Bo Derek. Betty White. Gene Wilder. Very cool. Penny Marshall again. Billy Crystal, director of 61. Great baseball movie. Humphrey Bogart. Very nice. Clint Eastwood is faded. Florence Henderson. Miss Brady. Look at this one. This was a Fidel Castro autograph. I didn't know he played baseball, but apparently he struck out Hank Greenberg. Martin Scorsese. The Rolling Stones autograph. Willie Nelson. Cyndi Lauper. And Larry Bird. Look at that. Former ball player himself. Played baseball growing up too. MC Hammer. Can't touch this. Oh, 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 oh. Oakland A's legend. Another legend. Kobe Bryant. Great autograph. And here we are. Of course, Michael Jordan. Gotta have that. There's a John Cena autograph around here somewhere. A John Cena. I don't know. I can't see a thing. And here's an Elvis Presley autograph baseball. How cool is this? Very cool, but probably not as cool as Vanilla Ice. Ice, ice, baby, too cold, too cold. And nothing's cooler than the San Diego Chicken. And that pretty much does it for celebrities, autographs. What is this? Tom Brady, yeah, right. This cannot be real. Come on, Dennis. You gotta be messing with us. That's it for celebrity autographs. Let's look at some regular baseball players like Dick Groat, Jim Mudcat Grant, Kurt Flood, with Lenny Dykstra right next to him. We go down here and we see Tony La Russa. Here's a David Ortiz, Mariano Rivera, Eric Lindros. Down here we have a Mike Tyson. Wow. Another hard hitter, Mark Whitten, Maury Wills, Rusty Staub, with Jason Varitek, Greg Nettles, Mo Vaughn, Manny Ramirez, is a Brian Taylor, Always nice to see Kevin Youkilis, although his name is misspelled. Here's a Pedro Martinez, very nice. And down here we have a Robert Wool of Arliss and Bull Durham. Here we have a Doc Ellis, Ted Radcliffe, Eddie Stanky, Don Newcomb, John Papelbon with Grant Balfour Rage next to him, Jim Bouton, World Series hero Joe Carter, Julio Franco and Jim Abbott. Here's an Ozzie Virgil Jr. and Sr. on the same ball. Louis Aparicio, Harold Reynolds, Terry Francona, very nice. Dennis Martinez, Hector Lopez, Albert Bell, Will Clark, with Jorge Posada, Jimmy Pearsall and Al Shack next to each other, pretty cool. Hideo Nomo, Juan Gonzalez, and Jay Johnstone. I like that. Bernie Williams, Bob Watson with Bobby Valentine. And we go down here. Who else can we find? Oh, there's one. Pat Borders, Toronto Blue Jays legend. Oscar Gamble, best hitter in the game. And we end it with Hideki Matsui, Godzilla. I hope you enjoyed this tour of the Schroeder's Little Cooperstown display of the world's largest autographed baseball collection right here at the St. Petersburg Museum of History in St. Petersburg, Florida. Up the street from the museum is the Baseball Boardwalk, which chronicles the history of baseball here in St. Pete, and there are home plates placed throughout the walk with fun facts about what has happened throughout the years here in St. Petersburg. Like this home plate here talks about Joe Torre as a MVP winner for the St. Louis Cardinals, who played spring ball here in St. Pete back in the 70s. And like this one right here,
1974, New York Mets, St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis Lou Brock gets off to a running start by stealing an NL record 118 bases in the regular season. It's just a manhole. 1977, New Al Lang Stadium opens in March. Civic leader Jack Lake first pitches the idea of St. Petersburg's own major league team.
1977. And the walkway leads to Tropicana Field. Hey!
Hi!
Hi!
Raise up!
Raise up! And here's some good hobby advice. Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, giving it a like, and just stay tuned for future videos. Take care.